In the upside-down world of Donald Trump, even the weather is playing its part. A blizzard on the beaches of northern Florida, Trump's home state. Climate change may be getting closer to Mar-a-Lago, but President Trump is not getting closer to taking climate change seriously. If anything, the opposite.
The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty.
That executive order was followed by another one in the Oval Office.
What's this one?
That's unleashing American energy, sir.
Which means more drilling for oil and gas, but also an end to $300 billion of federal funds signed off by his predecessor Joe Biden for green energy projects. What the king taketh away with one hand, he giveth with the other. Late last night in the West Wing, he hosted three titans from the world of AI, in favor and in luck. The creation of Stargate, a new AI infrastructure hub worth $500 billion.
And it's all taking place right here in America. Beginning immediately, Stargate will be building the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI.
All that power and money can make one weary, even if it is only day 3 on the new job. But Sam Altman, the youngest billionaire master of the AI universe, was suitably grateful.
I think this will be the most important project of this era. And as Masa said, for AGI to get built here, to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, to create a new industry centered here. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President. And I'm thrilled that we get to.
That's the kind of language the president likes to hear. Not this from the pulpit at the National Cathedral.
In public discourse, honoring each other's dignity means refusing to mock or discount or demonize those with whom we differ. And if common ground,
he stirred uncomfortably. His family were fuming, but the bishop had more.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families.
The political opposition may be cowed this time, not her.
The people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
Trump may think that God saved his life for a second term, but judging from his response, humility isn't part of the plan.
Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
After a few hours of reflection, he unleashed with this post on Truth Social, the platform he owns. The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. A thin-skinned president in a White House that now functions like a court. And if the king fears plots, he will need someone to find the plotters. Enter a man called Cash.
My name is Cash Patel, and I have written the first ever children's Russiagate book. It's called The Plot Against the King. It is a fantastical telling by me of how we triumph to put truth over evil.
And you can buy the book online and make Cash, a government lawyer turned conspiracy theorist, some more cash.
The plot against the king, the plot against the king. All the patriots say it's the plot against the king.
But what makes Cash Patel truly important is his new job. If confirmed, this man, who is sworn to go after his boss's enemies, will be the head of the FBI.
You have my word that you have ushered in a dynasty of change. You have ushered in a dynasty that will allow our children to live this American dream.
Fact really is stranger than fiction here. Bishops lambasting the president from the pulpit, priests and nuns having snowball fights in tropical New Orleans. It really is an upside-down world where you're either with the king or against him. Well, our Washington correspondent Siobhan Kennedy has been getting reaction to the president's latest decisions. She joins us now from Capitol Hill. Siobhan.
Well, Matt, among the blizzard of announcements that you mentioned there in your piece from Donald Trump, the one thing he hasn't done, of course, that he said that he would do on day one is bring about an end to the war in Ukraine. But he did at least mention it today in a rather feisty post on his Truth Social platform, where he essentially, Matt, threatened Vladimir Putin, saying that he was offering Russia a favor to help boost its economy and to end, he said, this ridiculous war. If we don't make a deal soon, Trump said, I have no other choice but to put high levels of taxes, tariffs and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States and various other participating countries. Now, obviously, Russia is already an expert at evading US sanctions, so it's not clear whether or not this will make any difference whatsoever. But it is very clear that Donald Trump wants to be seen to be doing something and to have an excuse when he's talking to Ukraine to blame Russia for not taking up this offer to not end the war. The other big thing, Matt, still very much in the chatter here on the Hill is the news that Trump has, of course, pardoned all those January the 6th offenders, especially since there is news today that Trump is now thinking of inviting some of those very same prisoners to the White House, no less, for tea. Well, he was asked yesterday during his press conference to defend his decision to release some of those criminals who in many cases admitted that they attacked and battered Capitol police officers. Let's hear how the president defended that move yesterday.
I am the friend of police, more than any president that's ever been in this office. We pardoned people that were treated unbelievably poorly. In the history of our country, there's never been anything take place like this.
Well, it won't come as any surprise to you to know that that is not how some of the police see their relationship rather with Donald Trump, not those police who were battered that day on the Capitol. Among them in particular, Michael Fanone, who was the police officer who was dragged down the Capitol tunnel and kicked and beaten. He was beaten so badly that he almost suffered a heart attack. He was tasered in the neck. Well, he, of course, is less than impressed by his Trump's decision to set his attackers free and reacted with fury today when he learned that Donald Trump was even thinking of inviting some of these insurrectionists to the White House for tea. Just listen to the anger in Michael Fanone's voice earlier today.
Donald Trump has told the American people, if you commit crimes on my behalf, I've got your back. I will absolve you of any accountability. People like the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, who Donald Trump has brought into his inner circle. It says, go out there and assault my detractors, and I will make sure that you are never held to account. The rule of law in this country is dead.
Well, very strong language there. I was up on the Hill earlier today and I was talking to the progressive Democrat Ilhan Omar, who has herself been the subject of far-right extremists. She's been a target of them for years. And I asked her how she felt. Did she feel safe now that many of these prisoners had been released and members of the Proud Boys are now walking around Washington, D.C.? Just listen to her response.
To see them celebrating and saying now that we are pardoned, we can buy guns is terrifying. A lot of them were turned over by their own family members to law enforcement. And now their family members are afraid. And so whatever transpires after this falls squarely on the shoulders of Trump and his supporters.
Well, the head of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, is due to land. He's been released from his 22-year sentence. He is due to land any moment and give a press conference in Miami. And he himself is calling for the prosecutors to be prosecuted and for the investigators who investigated people like him to be investigated. All of this, Matt, on day 3 of Donald Trump's New America.